Episode of Red Valkyrie is about to start. Hey! No! Why is it playing again?
It's not.
It is in mine. Oh my gosh, that's so weird. Hold on. Ha! I found it. I'm good. Sorry.
Because you had YouTube open like a jackass.
Shut up. No, I didn't. I'm a professional that understands that I can't play YouTube while I also stream. I'm sorry.
See, it was going to be perfect the first time.
So good. It was going to be amazing. And then Shae happened. I apologize, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Red Valkyrie, where we start out just horrible yet again, and this time it's totally my fault.
This time. Thanks for making the distinction.
This time. There's times it's been your fault. Over this way is my co-host, Sai. Say hello.
Hello. That's all you get.
You asshole. Every time. And I am, of course, Shae. Down below, we have the super awesome Mr. E.
Hello. So pleased to be here.
Yay! And we are going to be talking all about Captain Luv.
Yay.
So I'm just going to turn it straight over to you. Go right into your pitch and let's hear what this is all about.
All right. Well, so Captain Luv is a space trucker and former war hero. He is accompanied by an artificial intelligence named Spade, and together they reluctantly find themselves on adventures that could change the course of the solar system. That is what Captain Luv is in a nutshell. It goes a lot deeper. Obviously, this particular book is the backstory of how Luv meets Spade, and now Spade stands for Synchronous Protocol Artificial Intelligence Delegate, which basically means that she can exist in multiple computers at once, and then when she gets those computers in contact with each other, they become like a single entity. So she can exist in a unique way. Now she meets him in this book. She basically hijacks his head, and he helps her escape the laboratory that she's in. And now when they become friends, she learns about him, and so we tell the backstory of how Captain Luv, how he became the war hero, the hero of the cleansing. And the cleansing is the war between the corporation and the planets at that time. And then also there's another story of that surrounds a legend that surrounds him, which is that he can live forever. He was cursed by a voodoo princess that he was in love with. And the princess asked the voodoo goddess to watch over Luv and to protect him, and so that he can always come back to her as long as he loves her. Well, during the cleansing, the voodoo princess died, so Luv, never really stopped loving her. So thus, the legend is that he cannot die. So.
Aw, that's kind of sweet.
A little bit of romance, a little bit of action adventure, So
should have used the spell on herself instead of alive. Just saying.
This is interesting. When I was looking through, the woman that is right there, scroll up just a tad. So
this one?
The redheaded in the armor, because obviously I pay attention to redheads in comics. Is that the same one that is on the cover in the red leotard thing?
Yes, that is Jean. That is Luv's best friend. Yes, and
awesome.
She was in the cleansing with him. They fought side by side. So.
I like it. I also like the fact that she has so many costume changes, because I was flipping through and I was like, can I do any of these? And I was like, wow, she's got like a bunch of different outfits and I can't do any of them at all. So I had to try and go for Luv himself.
You don't have all this wardrobe just on hand?
I like my red leotard is in the shop.
Oh my god. Getting the tires rotated.
Well, if you there's actually not on these pages, but there's in the book there's several outfits that Jean wears. Well, I mean, not in this particular book. I mean, there's on the cover. Mm-hmm. You pull up the cover itself. Mm-hmm. That's the variant cover. She has different outfits on the different covers, and then in the book there's a few different scenes with her where she's dressed a few different ways.
Right.
So, and she basically dresses, you know, fairly normal. So like you can get away with like tank tops and jeans and still, you know, obviously it's not like a cosplay where it's identifiable, you know,
Right.
spot on, but
So
Right,
she
it's
doesn't have
realistic.
one signature look, is what you're saying.
right.
Gotcha. Is this the AI?
Yes, that is Spade. That is the artificial intelligence, correct? She lives inside, you know, several computers, but like Love has an optical implant from the cleansing itself. He was injured, so he has an optical implant, and there's a computer in his head, and that's how she actually gets into his head, you know, literally, and then he has, you know, she uses him to escape the science lab.
That's pretty cool. Well, hopefully he has a little bit of memory available.
In fact, she's able to hack his memories directly. So from
Aw.
inside the implant.
I hope it's for good and not for evil.
She's like, I'm just gonna go in and change everything that you think that you want, and just be like, it's all about me, and here's everything I need you to do for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, rewriting memories. I don't know if that would be possible, but you know, I haven't taken it that far yet. However, it does. The book does address that she cannot read his mind, his current thoughts, and she cannot read his short-term memory. Only the long-term memories.
Interesting. That's really interesting. Well, at least you have a plan.
Yeah. Well, she, you know, I mean, obviously, if she can read that data, she might be able to store data too. So,
Yeah.
like, creating false memories, you know. So.
Very neat. So before we get into, look at you just swooning, Sai. She's like, the AI is so great.
Yes. I wonder why a cyborg would like an AI.
The AI is actually like is actually probably like the strongest entity in the whole book series, because if you really think about it, I mean, once she escapes the space lab, every computer she gets into, she can pretty much exist in. So,
Right.
you know, so basically, you know, she could set up an agenda with herself. Think of an army of yourselves out there. You know what I mean?
Oh, I have. Don't worry.
Freaking Sai's already got a world domination plot, like A through triple A. I don't know.
There's a lot of plan.
You have an entire series of Pinky in the Brain ready to go, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yes. It's just a little terrifying.
Hey, Shae, another girl in armor.
I noticed I really like that. I don't know that it's normal, you know, because I mean, I'm military. A lot of people don't realize that, and there's a lot of people that either depict like women that are fighting in like really outlandish ways or in horribly skimpy ways, and it's like I don't really care, but it's nice to see just, hey, this is just bog standard, like some girls serve, some guys serve, they're all mixed in together because that's what it's actually like.
So in other words, you're saying it's nice to not see another armor Kini.
Yeah, and while I'm not opposed to armor Kinis, just sometimes it's just nice to feel like it's just normal.
And they
like
gotta make a little sense. Like, if the armor is magical, sure, it can just be 2 pasties and an eye patch.
Oh gosh, please no.
Yeah, because that's gonna stop a lot of, you know, that's gonna help out a lot in a battle. You know?
It really is, you know.
I mean, if it can generate a force field and keep you cool, then okay, but
There's
so
a lot
you
of
were
flexibility.
Oh gosh. So you're already funded, you have 6 days left.
Yes, and this is the last. I mean, we did extend. You know, I did extend the campaign about a week ago. So this 6 days here is the last that I can guarantee that if you order within this time period, that you can get your book in time for Christmas. If you order after this, like if I end up going in demand, and which I'm probably going to do, I cannot guarantee any Christmas delivery at that point. So
Right. Well, and I definitely would recommend going in demand for sure, because a lot of people may not necessarily want it for Christmas, or they may not want to try and have something shipped during that same time, because shipping gets crazy when it comes, close to Christmas time and everything. And I know personally, I would probably be somebody that would get it in demand just so I could get it after Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I've already basically gone ahead and set up all the order, and I'm paying for the books to be printed and delivered here already, so basically I don't have to wait until the campaign ends, get the funds, and then try and make those numbers work. I'm actually just making sure I get plenty of books, and then hopefully I'll just keep hopefully I'll sell more and then make my money back. Because I'm seriously upside down on this. This is not one of those campaigns where I wait to see and get the funds before I draw, or whatever. I paid for everything up front. This thing is I'm a long ways from in the green.
You're a long way from daylight. Yeah, we actually hear that a lot from people that are funding their own thing, either with a mortgage or a credit card or a combination, a kidney,
Yeah.
Well, I actually used all my savings and credit, but I also am developing the next book in the series as well. In fact, chapter 1 is completed. I got the last of the colors just the other day, and paid for the last of the colors just the other day for chapter 1 of that next series also. So this is not a one and done kind of thing. The next series is already moving forward. I'm planning to release it in summer 2020, late spring, summer 2020. I'll be doing it one chapter at a time, 24-page chapters, but that's just because it's too expensive to try and do them at wait a year and a half and then release one every year and a half, 2 years.
Right.
It's just not financially viable. So
yeah, especially when you're hiring an artist and they can't afford to devote 24/7 to your project.
Exactly.
I could easily see that. If they have 2 or 3 up in the air, and plus it does, despite popular opinion, take time to write and do the other things associated with making a comic. So Shae, did you want to start in on the perks?
Yeah, I was gonna say let's have you go down and check out kind of what your tiers are and at what level people can back.
All right, so this is my most. I added this perk recently. This is called the Captain Special. It's actually been requested a few times, and I had to do secret perks, and so I decided I would just make, because I got it requested more than twice. I figured I would actually just make a perk for it, and that is where you get both books and all 9 of the trading cards.
Very cool.
Yeah, and that's it's the special. It says $50, and there's a shipping charge, obviously, but this is and just so we were clear on my perks, if it's just books, any perk that has nothing more than just books, the shipping for domestic is built into that perk, right? If you're out of the country, then I discount what it would cost to ship domestically from.
Oh, interesting.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So if you have trading cards or a shirt, you know what I mean, then there's shipping costs on that perk. So this is just one. This is the original cover book right here. Just $20. Domestic shipping is included. It's 72 pages. It's a beautiful book. Everybody should have one. Right. And then the next one is the variant cover.
And it's like $20 for a 72-page color book.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, especially with shipping included. So.
Yeah, I guess it's insane by crowdfunding standards. I actually based my pricing model on what was on the shelves. What I mean. So like if a 72-page graphic novel is about a $10 book, maybe 15 if you're a popular series already. Because it's like the 140 to 160 page books are the 15 to 25 books. So yeah, it's and then the Comicsgate market is a little different. People say that the Comicsgate market's used to paying $25 for a book and then $25 shipping, but if you look at the all the campaigns out there, not everybody's paying that. There's a lot of people that just can't afford that. So I was trying to make it affordable.
Nope, that's
hoping that
absolutely true. And the way the mass market does that is just a shit ton of printing. So, I mean, if you can manage it within your numbers, more power to you. But it's that shipping that's the killer when you're dealing with lower quantities, and the cost per book goes through the roof. So
right. So instead of pricing my book at 10 and charging $10 for shipping, I priced it at 20 and included the shipping. You see how that worked?
Yeah.
And then so let's see here. This one's the variant, just the variant, and then we're into the signed copy.
Yeah, this is a signed copy. This has actually been pretty popular. I didn't think people would actually want my signature as much, but there we go. Got 19 claim to those. So,
Well, and I mean, the thing is, though, is if you're going to back somebody who's doing an indie comic, you're not just backing the comic, you're not just backing the project, you're backing the person. And I think when you start looking at it from a more collector's standpoint, if you end up let's say Captain Luv blows up and becomes the next big kind of title out there, to be able to turn back and say I have an original that was signed, that's kind of it's a nice little bragging rights, and it could potentially be an investment if something were to ever get really big.
And these books are going to be numbered also, by the way.
Oh, interesting.
And
Very cool.
They're fully marked with ISBN numbers and barcodes and everything, really. These are I know that most people are used to just the indie market where it's all just fast and clean and dirty, but I'm actually gone full legit on these. So say if you ever want to verify that you have the real book, it's registered. It's going to be a registered ISBN number that is verifiable. So,
it's really cool.
Yeah. So that's, these are going to be, first run collector items. There's, books, and then there's going to be a gold number on the back that's going to say book and then what number it is. So.
Neat.
Very cool.
And so here's your one of each, just the book, and it looks like that's
you get a $10 discount.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. It is. You get them together, and obviously, considering the way that shipping works for £1 and under is basically the same. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to ship them together for the same price. Is basically shipping one. So
that's very cool.
And then this is 2 books, 1 signed. Same thing, just 1 signed.
So
okay.
Buy 2, sell 1, keep the signed one. There you go.
Right. Exactly.
Nice.
And then that would be the last of the shipping included tiers, except for the very, very last, because that's all books also, but it's their option. Nobody seems to take up on that one. 20, it's only 50 books, So this one is 1 book plus all 9 trading cards. And then the trading cards are in, by the way. I actually have them in hand now.
Ooh.
So I actually have what you see there, the 9 cards. I actually have an actual physical representation, the real thing of what that'll look like when it comes to you. I mean,
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So when we get back to camera, I'll show you that.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was just going to say. Let's finish your tiers, and then I want to see those because that's awesome.
All right, and so that's 1 book plus all 9 trading cards, and then below that you have a book and a T-shirt. Which the shirts I find that are not as popular amongst Comicsgate people as say other industries for some reason. I don't know what that's.
I'm not gonna lie, I really want one, especially because it says all you need is love. I think it's hilarious.
Well, the shirts come in multiple colors, male and female designs, so you can pretty much get what you need, and if you even want some kind of special design, we can work that out, because I order them one off, you know what I mean, from the company I get them through. So
very cool. That's awesome. That's probably something that people don't realize, is that if you don't want the maroon, if you wanted a different color, that's an option. Or if you wanted to work directly with you, that they could probably get something even a little bit more towards what they were hoping for.
Yeah, I actually have. Depending on what they want. I mean, we can go crazy. I actually was playing around and made myself a sweatshirt with the design. All you need is love design on the back of it. You know, a zip up hoodie, and then I have Captain Luv on the breast, and then I have Captain Luv on the sleeves. Yeah,
that is awesome. That's super cool.
So yeah, there's and if you want a long sleeve T-shirt, that we can do that. I can do tank tops. I mean, I can do whatever.
What are the price differences as you start doing that? Is it negligible or is it pretty significant?
They you know, sometimes depends on what you're wanting to do. Obviously, the crazy sweatshirt idea that I did, you know, that cost like, you know, just $70 to create.
Yeah.
Different printing, but like a tank top, you know, probably gonna be like $10 more. You know, long sleeve T-shirt probably somewhere around the same part, like $10 more or something like that. So
cool.
It really comes down to the choice. I mean, because you could even get a higher quality T-shirt if you wanted, you know what I mean, for more money. It's just
right.
You know, it comes down to what you want. So, but these are pretty good T-shirts. I mean, I have a handful of them. I tested quite a few before I put them up for anybody to get their hands on.
I'm laughing because if it was me and I was testing these designs, like my entire wardrobe would be Captain Luv shit by this point.
So
I might have something along the lines of like, you know, 6 Captain Luv T-shirts.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not gonna lie. I do this with my husband in leggings, and I had like 5 pairs of leggings that I recently went back home with, and I came back with like 1 because my family was like, "I'm taking this. This is mine now." I was like, "But that's what I wear." Like now I don't have a wardrobe.
And like put a QR code on the shoulder to your Indiegogo.
Right. Like if you want it right here, just scan this and you can buy your own. That's a good idea. Oh,
Thank
goodness.
That's funny.
All right,
This is a
so
word of everything. This is obviously both books, a T-shirt, and a pack of trading cards. Now, the trading cards are going to be 3 randomized small packs. Those small packs are just going to be 3 cards. They're going to be randomized. The cards are going to be packaged in individual little holders, like you would get a comic book. You know what I mean? How it has its own little package. So.
Oh, I see. Like a little plastic sleeve.
Yeah, plastic sleeve, collector style, right?
Gotcha.
Right.
Nice.
Right, and now this is the couples pack. I'm surprised this hasn't gone over very well, but it's one of each cover, and then 2 T-shirts, obviously designed for the couples who want to share their books together and have, you know, matching shirts. But
I'm betting the matching shirts is the problem.
Love needs to be shared.
Oh, this is good though.
Yeah, for people who want to share the love, you know, you can get 2 male shirts, you get 2 female shirts, a male and a female, you know.
I try to get my husband to match me in shirts, and then he walks away from me shaking his head. So, you know, from experience.
Yeah, well, my ex-fiance was pretty good at getting me to wear matching T-shirts on certain occasions. You know,
oh my god,
that's so cute.
Especially our trips to Disneyland. We had to have matching shirts for some reason.
So you can find each other. Obviously, Disneyland is massive. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So the not solo love pack. Because,
all right, now the collector's pack is basically 3 books. 1 is signed original cover, 1 unsigned original cover, 1 variant cover, a T-shirt, and all 9 trading cards.
Very cool.
excellent, and you have had someone pick that up, so you can see that the desire is out there for all that merch.
Yeah. Actually, I've had that picked up twice. I had to change the picture in it because I forgot to include the T-shirt in the description. So actually, I think maybe 3. 2 people bought it before I changed the picture, so I had to like make a new tier. You know what I mean? For that. So actually, that was like, you know, bought 3 times, I think. So
I like how your pictures are indicative of what they're actually getting. I think the problem with doing that for more people is the fact that they don't actually have their book yet, so they have a little trouble creating that graphic. But that's really cool to see, and it makes it a lot simpler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the Santa's pack is basically 3 of the original covers, 3 T-shirts, and 3 packs of trading cards. Yeah.
Very cool. So this is a perfect time to add in the question that we got from Arch City Comics, who says, "Can I get Captain Luv in a Santa hat, like just a Santa hat?"
On a shirt.
I'm assuming. I mean, I feel like that would be right up Angie's alley.
So are we talking like full body Captain Love? Or,
I'm sure he is, but you know,
here?
you do what you are comfortable with your brand. Just keep that in mind. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Well, there you go, Angie. He's in a Santa hat. He just is also clothed, so you're just gonna have to be okay with that.
Moving right along.
And then the mother load is basically, you know, an advanced version of the gift pack for Santas. It's 5 of the original cover books, 5 of the variant cover books, 2 shirts, and 5 packs of trading cards. Makes good if you're trying to, like, you know, buy Christmas presents. These are great. These are great
Right.
for people.
Very cool.
Absolutely, and at the pricing of the books, I mean, you're getting $10 plus the other stuff. So, I mean, that's the cost of $10. So it's like you're getting the shirts and the cards for free.
Right. And then the retailers pack, I actually designed this specifically for people who wanted to, you know, who are retailers that, you know, wanted to put their stuff in the LCSs. So I actually discounted it based on what the pricing model was. I discounted an additional 33%. So that they would actually have the ability to profit from this.
Wow. That's really cool.
So it's 25 total books, 20 packs of cards, and 3 shirts.
Yeah. 15 of the original cover, 10 of the variant covers, 3 shirts, and 20 packs of trading cards. So.
Wow.
That's a lot.
It really is.
Yeah, it's a good deal. Now, the nuclear option, this is also a books-only perk, so the shipping is included in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 50 books, 25 of the original cover, 25 of the variant cover. Obviously, the value is in for people who want to resell, eBay, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Or hoard for later. You know?
Hold on to and wait for it to just really increase in value and be like, by the way, I have a ton of them. Who wants to buy?
By the way, I have like the first run editions. These are numbered books. And
exactly.
Right.
Very cool.
And the variant cover is only going to be available for this campaign. I'm not like after I print the variant cover from like, if I have to do another run of the variant cover, a second run from this campaign, then it would only be from this campaign. I will not like. I personally will never put the variant in a, you know, like store. Now I can't say it'll never be in a store, because if a store owner buys the variant through this campaign and puts it in his store, it'll be in his store. But he would have purchased it through the campaign to make that happen. So.
Well, I actually really like your variant cover. I like the ship design. I like the fact that it's like a bright pink light and everything, which is not normally, people tend to go with teals and blues. And it's kind of cool that it's like this big, it looks like a giant like VW bus with some like giant hydraulics on the sides or engines on the sides to keep it going. But it does. It looks like a huge VW bus.
It's supposed to have a combination of a feel between like a like one of those vans that you use for like UPS or whatever, in combination with a Winnebago.
So yeah, I was going to say, I get a little Spaceballs vibe here.
Yeah, it's supposed to have a little, because he lives in there. You know, it's a little Winnebago-y, but it's also like a big van. But it's supposedly you know, it's a hauler. It's for carrying a lot of cargo. It's 3-story, you know, tall. So it has a lower area with living quarters, a middle area where the cockpit is, and then an upper star deck. So
that's really cool.
I actually really like the design of it. Yeah, and I love the fact that I think it has 4 wings, from what I can see.
They're wings, sort of. I mean, you don't really have wings on a space vessel. You know what I mean? What it is that they're rockets on, and then the rockets on these, you call them wings, I guess. They're extensions, but they what they do is they extend in and out, so they can pull in, they can pull out, they can move, they can open, close. the concept is that it gives the hauler an extreme level of versatility and maneuverability. So even though it's this big clunky beast of a machine, right, in space where there's no drag, it can maneuver almost as good or better than any other vehicle.
Right.
Which is why I'm assuming it's able to kind of get away from these lasers that are coming at it.
Which is why it's good in a fight with space pirates. Yes.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Well,
I'm sorry, I was staring at the ship. So
Sai gets lost. Anytime we do anything that is sci-fi, that has cyborgs, anything like that, she just gets lost in the aesthetic of everything.
So I told this to Shae like a week ago when we were talking about your project. Have you ever seen Babylon 5?
I have. I used to watch that series.
Okay, so you remember the Star Furies and how they had 4 wings?
Yes.
Okay, that's exactly what this reminds me of combined with Spaceballs, and I like it.
That's cool. When I was originally designing the ship, I definitely wanted to have the 4 wings, because of different ways that the vehicle would have to land. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like say if it's carrying an extremely heavy load, you know what I mean? Would need the logic being maneuverability, having the ability to thrust forward heavily at the same time, have heavy thrust moving you in multiple directions at the same time. The next book actually addresses in the first 8 pages of a pirate fight where that's required to survive.
Right, and not only that, but I mean, in space, one of the things you have to think about is redundancy, especially if you're going to be, getting in fights and stuff like that. So having 4 engines to at least be able to push you along. Someone takes out one, you still got some more.
Right, and redundancy makes a lot of sense because in a lot of cases, the hauler only uses the 2 larger engines for mobility for momentum, and uses the upper engines mostly for mobility, for maneuverability.
Gotcha. And these are the trading cards that you were talking about.
Yeah. So do we want to go back to cameras so he can show us the actual trading cards that he has?
I mean, if you insist.
I know, I'm such a bitch. I'm sorry.
Dick.
Oh, whoa. Okay, that's cool.
So these are them. Pull them in.
I'm going to focus on you for a second.
So here we go. This is the same imagery that you got in the campaign there. But what you see in the campaign is...
Oh, I
so
like
they're like
it.
character cards. That's cool. Kind of partial to that middle one, but
of course you are. I love it though. I really like the fact that, because a lot of the time when people do these cards, they have like a really cool front bit of art, but then on the back it's either blank, it says their logo, or it just has stats. And so the fact that you kind of gave them double the art is really, really cool.
Yeah, well, these are this side here is actual custom drawn for the trading cards by the illustrator, by Andrea Barmica, my illustrator.
Mm-hmm.
And then these are actual clips from the book. Like, see here's Jean. We were talking about how she has other outfits.
Uh-huh.
She's dressed here.
That's awesome.
You see, and then this imagery here on the back of the cards are actually from the book.
Right, so they're pulled from panels.
Right, they're pulled from actual panels.
Yeah,
that's super cool.
And then it's just little fun facts about them. You know what I mean? Like, so like if you're wondering who they are, that kind of thing. Because Millie here only appears actually in a splash page in the book. And then Barney only has a small part in this book, even though he's an extremely large part of the series. They're both actually very large parts of the series. So, they deserved cards, even though they weren't huge parts of this particular book. So, and then while we have the camera on me, here's my mock-up of the book.
Ooh.
So,
nice thick cover.
That's some quality paper too.
Well, this is actually printed at like FedEx Kinko's. Well, it's not Kinko's, but it's FedEx office now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you can see here that this is just, like it's obviously so I could get a good feel of how all the pages flow together. And, I needed to have something I could hold and smell, but there's like see there like you're talking about how the armor and battle scenes, like there's cool battle scenes in here, like
Oh, that's awesome.
you see, and there's Jean kicking ass there too.
That almost looks like Warhammer 40K, like tabletop games and stuff. It's really kind of similar to, I won't say Space Marines because Space Marines are a little bit bulkier, but it's kind of like if you were to take a Space Marine armor and make it a little less ridiculous and a little less fantasy.
Yeah, it's really interesting how all this stuff evolved. It's because it actually translated over to artists. I had an artist first who drew half the book and then flaked out because he had a meth problem.
Ooh. Yeah. That's always fun. Damn, when those artists get addicted to meth.
Right. And then the second artist, didn't instead of like matching the look, he created his own look, which was way better than the original look. So I had him draw the first half of the book also after drawing the second half of the book. So so a lot of the like ideas in the first half of the book were recreated by the second artist based off of what the first artist might have drawn. Does that make sense?
Right.
So like there's like some of the ideas are translated, through different artists. Like so it's kind of interesting how I look at something and like I basically hammered, I needed a certain way from, into the first artist, and then the second artist is like, like I would have to do that all over again.
Yeah. So one thing that Arch City said that I think is 100% accurate is that the way that you've designed your ship sounds like it would make such a cool toy to have.
I actually have plans to do. That's going to be the first thing that we do a model of. Will be.
Oh, that's cool.
So before we do any dolls or we do any figurines, the first thing that's going to be created will be the hauler. Yes. And I'm debating on whether or not it's going to be like a silicone toy or like a squishy. You know what I mean? Like a little spongy squishy toy.
Squish your ship. Okay.
I'm 1,000% down for having the little, like I love the little stress squishies, and having that giant like ship with the pink like windows and everything to simulate the lights if you're going to do squishy, but having that you just like sit and squish would be amazing, especially if you made it bigger. Instead of making it like the little tiny ones, make it like a honkin' bar.
Well, it really comes down to what's available and the costs and that kind of stuff. But yeah,
the squishies that have the like specific parts that bulge, like the dogs with the eyes or the whatever. Yes. You should do that with the pink windows so it looks like they're exploding when you squeeze it.
Blowing out.
Yes, exactly. But it never actually blows up, so it's like I could do it.
It doesn't quite. Yeah.
Yeah. Just squeeze harder. So,
well, those squishies are done. That they have like they're all cast, right? So like there's like a mold that's made, and then they're just injected with this foam stuff, and then they're painted later. So it'd be like this gray. It would obviously be a gray foam for the gray color, and then the pink would have to be painted on them afterwards. That's how those are made, and then so it would come down to how much foam cost and production and that kind of thing. The other way would be done with silicone, silicate. I can't say the word right now. Right, silicate. Right now, it's like silicone, but it's not really silicone. And what that is it's a 3D printed version, and it would be like a plastic, but it would be like a soft plastic.
Right.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That kind of, it's almost like plasticky rubber. It's like a weird in between.
Right. Exactly. And so those are the two options I'm considering right now. So it's going to come down to price and everything.
Right.
So we have a rather inappropriate question if taken out of context. But Arch would like to know how that book smells. The book.
The book?
How does the book smell?
The book smells delicious.
The book smells like love. Take that how you will.
And Arch also said, Drew, you are my favorite. So a little bit of Drew love.
Adam's my good friend, man. I appreciate him fully. So
yeah, I refer to him as Angie because apparently my thing is giving dudes middle-aged women names. So he is Angie to me and will always be Angie.
Angie.
Yeah, feel free to call him Angie. What's great is that when people start to protest, we give them more interesting names, just like Invictus is now Buttercup.
Buttercup.
Yeah.
Don't complain.
He complained, and he paid the price.
And I doubled down.
Hilarious.
Oh, I mean, that's why. So, all right. So I've asked the chat to keep this in mind, and I know that they love to forget, so I'm going to remind them. Think of questions that you would like to ask. Sai, do you have any off the top of your head?
Please. I love to answer questions about Captain Luv.
So, would you like it? Well, here's kind of a rhetorical question. Would you like me to share your video?
Of course.
Ooh,
okay.
That'd be great.
So I'm going to do that. If you would all, I don't think it automatically does this when I share audio because I've only done it one other time. I'm going to mute, and if you want to make comments, feel free, but I can't. So give me 1 second.
This is the fun part. Everything takes so long to get all the moving pieces to work.
Well, that would be where a co-host would talk, but
I am talking. You know what? I'm just going to let you flounder. Go ahead, producer.
Well, we just do the Jeopardy theme. Dun, 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 dun,
dun, yes. Dun, dun, dun. I know. Where's my rock music from my intro?
I hate you so much.
No, you don't. You wish you hated me.
Captain Luv is a space trucker and former war hero. Accompanied by a rogue artificial intelligence named Spade, he reluctantly finds himself on adventures that could affect the course of the solar system. Captain Luv, the hero of the cleansing, is 72 beautiful full-color pages and the first book in an ongoing series featuring Captain Luv. It is the story of how Spade and Luv meet. This story also explains the legend surrounding Captain Luv and how he became the hero of the cleansing. This is the essential book in the Captain Luv series. Captain Luv, the hero of the cleansing, is completed and ready to print. Delivery is guaranteed, and the product will begin shipping at the end of the crowdfunding campaign. You'll fall in love with love. This book is rated mature. There is sex, violence, profanity, nudity, and other mature themes. This book is not designed for children. You'll fall in love with love.
I loved your, this is a mature book, not for children, as his pants are being unzipped. It's like, yeah, if there were kids watching, like, sorry, parents.
So, first of all, our channel is rated as not for kids. Second of all, I thought about asking you about playing the video earlier, and the first thing that popped into my head was making sure that there was no nudity in the video, so my channel didn't get struck. And totally forgot.
There's no nudity in the video, so we're okay.
Okay.
Yes, there was no nudity. There was close.
Well,
but it's good.
There's what's called implied nudity, which means,
there you go.
Which is an actual nudity. In
this
fact,
is true.
Implied nudity is considered PG rated these days. So
That's so sad.
I wouldn't care if your comic was wall-to-wall nips, but just can't throw that on the screen. But more power to you.
So I noticed a couple of things in the video. That's actually my first time watching your video.
Oh, really?
Yes, so I normally when I have somebody come on, I like to keep some things that I don't delve super into, and so I kind of get a reaction piece. And one thing that I really like, I saw a couple things in there I really liked, like energy blades is what it looked like you had some of, like the giant sword that had all of the energy around it.
Yes.
I love that. I think that's super cool, especially the idea of like I can chop off your arm and it'll cauterize immediately, and you're just gonna suffer and be in pain, but you'll still be alive. Which is, horrible and a little sadistic.
The energy blades are a necessity if you're fighting against armor. So
that is very true. You also have a lot, like you have one panel in your actual campaign page that kind of shows kind of the grotesque fighting and the death and blood and everything. But in that, you got to see a lot more where people are like running for their lives. And you have that little girl that was down, like holding a little stuffed animal, just face down, completely dead.
Right.
That's something that is, I don't know, it's something that a lot of people shy away from. And I think that kind of the way that you have it laid out there, it makes it feel a lot more, I don't know, intense. It kind of puts you more in the moment, and you see these people running and screaming, and your artist did a great job in really kind of capturing fear in people's faces, which is super awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. The that particular scene is from the cleansing, and the cleansing obviously it has a couple different elements to it, but basically the core concept of the cleansing is cleansing of ideas, cleansing of people who are standing against the corporation, you know what I mean, are being basically executed, wiped out. They're cleansing, the landscape of people who descend the way that they want things done. So yeah.
Well, and it was really kind of cool to see the indiscriminate like kind of killing and everything. And so when you see like you have Captain Luv and he's fighting against all of this, and you see these people are just kind of heartlessly, oh well, it doesn't matter that you're 5 or that you're 10, you stood on the wrong side, or your parents stood on the wrong side and took you someplace, and now you have to die because we don't really have much of our own thought process. It's just kind of, this is the only way that things go and everybody else is wrong.
Right. There's even a scene in the book. I don't know if it shows it well in the video. There's a scene in the book where the people have been gathered at a metal fabrication factory. Big. Where metal's being smelted and it's just being melted down.
Foundry.
Right.
Yeah,
Foundry. Right. And then people are just being walked in instead of being executed. They're being walked, pushed over the edge into the molten steel.
Oh gosh.
That's how they're executing them. And there are people like lined up for a long ways, and they're just all one at a time getting like from cattle prodded, into the molten steel. So
wow. Yeah, that's brutal.
I try to go kind of harsh with it.
You actually just reminded me of the other part that I wanted to talk about, but it's slipped my mind when I started talking about the poor little girl that was dead face down. The torture scene where Jean is like being licked up the side of her face and like gagged and brutally beaten, and like that was kind of
yeah. Real. I really wanted. Okay, so like the executive general, who is the bald dude, I really wanted to play him up to be really evil to his core. You know what I mean? And then so like every way I could think of. Obviously, you're in a comic book. You're limited to as far as how much story you can tell. I wanted to make sure that people were understood that he rose from among the other execs, but then basically killed anybody who disagreed with him, and then took like a king style position. And then on top of that, he was like overwhelmingly douchebaggish, gross. You know what I mean?
This guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay. He's yeah. I'm not a fan of him. Like straight out the gate.
Yeah. You're talking about let's see, you're talking about the scene here where he is grabbing her.
Yeah.
and then he licks her face,
which is just horrible. It's so.
It says, tastes like fear.
So Shae and I
calls her a teasing trollop.
Oh my god.
Shae and I have talked a little bit about iconic and creepy moments in movies. And one of the things I mentioned that she couldn't recall was the face lick from T2. So
I don't. So I have known one person who's actually been licked in real life like that, like totally out of the blue, and it was a completely innocent like situation. I know it doesn't sound like it. She was sitting on a bench in England waiting for somebody to come over, and a guy like said hi to her, and then immediately after she was like hi, he like grabbed her face and licked up the side of her face and then ran away. And it was so bad that she was like, I won't go back there without somebody, because it like creeped her out so bad. And that was like some drunk dude joking around. So I can't imagine if that was that like, to her and it was a lot more innocent. Like imagine being, held captive, tied up, and then somebody does that and you're like, this is like the most humiliating and the most disgusting thing that somebody could do. And it's, she's like bound. She can't just leave.
Yeah, she's tied up and held in place by like two soldiers. Yeah. And he's got her by the face. He's like just slowly licking her face. Yeah.
Oh, that's so bad. Well, and I can only imagine based on her, like she looks like she's ready to, if I got loose right now, all of you would be screwed.
Yeah, well, Luv doesn't react very well to it. In fact, immediately after that, she gets slapped. He does not respond well. He let's see here. So she gets slapped, and then he's all
screaming,
angry face.
Yeah. Oh, I can't read what the bubble says.
He says, "You son of a bitch, you're fucking dead."
That's an appropriate response.
With his best friend,
Right. Well,
and I am not highlighting that comment, so just give it up.
Yeah. That's... the other thing I was going to say is, so when a lot of the time, if you're going through like survival training or anything like that in the military, one of the things that they do, especially for females, is they'll either bring in the females to beat like in front of the males to try and break the males, or they'll do it the other way because it's hard when it's a male female kind of friendship and relationship, and that's somebody that you've like fought alongside. To see somebody else try and hurt them, it hits you in such a different way. Like if it's dude to dude, you're like, he can take it. I know he can take it. But when it's like a girl getting her ass beat in front of her male like counterpart, it's like, no, that like, I know she can take it, but she shouldn't have to. And I'm supposed to protect that.
Yeah. That was an iconic scene from G.I. Jane where they did that.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. And she's all getting up. She's all, suck my dick.
Well, and that's the thing is a lot of girls, especially like women, want to be like, oh, I would be a total badass in that situation. At the same time, like if you've ever been punched in the face, it's a different experience than what you think. And I'm just happy I've been punched once, and at least I know I can take a hit. It was very shocking. It took a second to kind of, oh, that's what that feels like. Okay.
As somebody who's been punched several times by several types of people,
as someone that's been punched by G.I. Jane,
there's a difference between the type of person that hits you. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that upper body strength and upper body build make a big difference as far as punching. Like it's not a sexist thing to say that men have broader shoulders than women.
Right.
And if you have broader shoulders, you actually just technically have more pivot power, just on that measure alone. So and then with testosterone, men tend to have more muscle mass in their upper body naturally. Yes. So I have been hit by a lot of men. I've been hit by a lot of women. Men hit a fucking 10 times harder. And I mean, and men, even when they're pulling their punches, still fucking hit harder.
Yep.
And it's just fucking science. That's all it is. It's not sexism.
No, absolutely not. And I mean, there's also a difference between, like, I'm never going to punch as hard as a dude is, but I'm also going to punch a hell of a lot harder than your average female because I'm 6'1", broad shouldered. Like I am built like that. I just don't have the muscle mass and the strength that a man has to back me up.
Yeah. Now, I know some women who fucking lift all the fucking time.
Oh yeah.
And they're fucking stocky anyway. They're fucking
right.
Yeah. They can hit fucking hard. They can hit really hard.
They can.
Yeah, and you put them against a man who works out as much as they do. You know what I mean? And then you will see that they still can't compare.
You still lack something, and that just comes down to biology.
Now we're drifting into my area of expertise that I've used quite a bit for no reason whatsoever, transitioning from male to female, and you start talking about bone density and muscle density, and I've looked at this a lot, having to do with transgender people kind of invading sports where I don't feel that they should. But you start to realize the fact that I mean, just testosterone really does so much for a body in terms of lean muscle and muscle efficiency and you know that skeletal density, which is, I mean, that's the framework behind your punch. I mean, of course, the muscle is what moves it, but I mean, when you have a bone that's twice as dense in a man as it is in a woman, you have that brick coming at your face. It's a little bit different. So
right.
It also has some consequences. It also makes men have shorter lifespans. It also makes us more prone to illness in general. Like heart disease and other things. It just we because of the designed to be stronger, we aren't designed to last as long.
Well, and you've also got, so I've studied a myriad of martial arts over my course of my life. Like my dad used to teach, and then when I was later, I did Aikido when I got a little bit older. And one thing that I found in Aikido that I thought was really interesting is all of the joint locks. Men are so much easier to get into a joint lock than women are, because women are naturally a lot more flexible. And so, you know, anytime we were doing pairs and sparring, I had cops, bouncers, various kinds of like people of those sorts of professions that were like, can I be your sparring partner? Because I have a lot of women that I end up having to try and contain. And they're a lot more difficult to contain. And I'd have to sit there and be like, you don't have me. Like, you don't have me in a lock yet. And they're like, how the fuck do I not? And I was like, I'm telling you the truth. Like right now I could flip around and still punch you in the face and it wouldn't be a problem for me. And it turned into, you know, where for a guy it would be like this, for a girl it's like all the way around. And it takes a different mindset when you're going between a male and a female, because if you push a man that far, you're going to spiral fracture whatever joint you have. Whereas for a female, they're not even in a lock yet. Like they don't even feel it.
Shae, we do have an offer from the chat, or a request, I should
happily punch Angie.
Yes. We would take turns. Oh, the face? Oh.
I'll let you punch wherever else.
Okay.
We did also have a legitimate question that came from Skits, who is getting ready to launch their comic, and I'm super excited about. They want to know, what would you do differently if you did your campaign over?
Okay, so
and this isn't to poke at people. He asked this in many of our streams. It's so that he can learn before he starts.
Yeah, my campaign itself was actually set up pretty solid. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that I could have done differently. You know what I mean? Like, but then it would have changed my approach to my business model if I had changed them differently. I think that the one thing that I could have done differently, which I was initially doing, was waiting longer and building up more momentum among friends and more time talking about the book before actually launching the campaign.
Right.
That I would have done differently. I didn't really have a choice in the matter personally, because I finished my book in May. My book was done in May. You
I
know,
want you to understand, I'm not being cruel by laughing. Our guest yesterday said exactly the opposite, that they wished that they took more time before the pre-launch to generate that buzz and to get that word of mouth out there that it was coming. So, I mean, I think it's the grass is always greener a little bit in this one aspect.
yeah.
It can be. Well, and you can never tell based on which project you're going to do if it's going to help or hurt. Because for some, it's like a flashbang and then people move on to other things. And for others, it's, oh, well, we were expecting a flashbang, so we went immediately and nobody knows what our project is. So nobody is comfortable like supporting and giving their money over. And so it really just kind of depends, I guess, on who your audience is and how things are being perceived and received at that point in time.
There's a lot of factors. I mean, obviously, Christmas time shopping is a factor. You know what I mean? Which is why I launched at October 1st, because they were like, okay, you know what? Either you launch like right now, or you wait until February.
Right.
And I was all like, okay, well, I finished my book in May. I was all out of pocket on this book. There's no way I'm waiting a whole year on the book from the time that I finish it to where I launch it. So I was like, I got to get it out. I had, you know what I mean? So
Right.
so the whole, taking time to build stuff up, just, I mean, I did do some of that, but I didn't have enough momentum in the same time. And at the same time, it's like, you hear people saying, you need to build a YouTube channel up and all that kind of stuff. Not everybody's capable of doing that. Let's just be
Right.
clear. Not everybody. Okay. It is actually cruel to ask an illustrator or otherwise writer or artist who's capable at one specific thing to learn a whole new entertainment medium,
Right.
to promote what they're good at. You know what I mean? It's completely unfair to expect somebody to do that.
No, it is. And I think that's why things like Red Valkyrie exist, is because Shae and I, we're not creators in, like, I'm not an artist. I letter and I might flat, but like, we're not artists, we're not colorists. Shae is a writer and an editor, and I letter and I flat, and that's it. We both project manage and we understand projects, but we are good at this piece. We're good at like bringing people in and saying, okay, tell us about your book. Let's get some questions. And so while I understand people wanting others to have, like, make sure that you have things ready on YouTube, you don't have to be the one that does it all on YouTube. What I would say is make sure that you've been talking to people who do have shows on YouTube to see if you can get on those shows, so you can start promoting in a more real sense where people can connect with you better than, you being some icon and a tweet that may or may not seem real, that may or may not seem canned. Being able to talk like this, that at least gives you a human aspect.
It's also hard to get on shows when people don't follow you on Twitter.
Right.
It is very difficult, especially if you don't have, if your DMs are closed, which we've run into a couple different people. Like, I'm trying to get a couple different people on over the next few weeks, and I can't DM them. And, I leave my DMs open specifically for that reason. So if you don't follow me, you can still reach out. But
Yes, we do. For any of you listening.
Shae also does. But that's the thing, is if you don't know that Shae and I have a show, you're not going to reach out. And if I don't know that you have a book, I'm not going to reach out. And so it becomes a catch-22 in that situation, where you've got to be really aggressive in making sure that people know that you're out there. And then, on our side, we have to be really aggressive in making sure that people know that we're looking for guests to constantly come on our show.
And to be fair, we have had a bunch of people who go out of their way to point people at us, which is really great.
Insanely helpful.
Exactly. And we really appreciate it. But back to your point, Drew, I think what you're saying is it's not necessary to build the YouTube channel yourself, as long as you network with people who can get you around to the people that you need to get to. And that's absolutely a good point. You don't have to follow that EVS model of building a 100,000 subscriber YouTube channel before you launch your book. But I mean, on the other hand, you do have the EVS model of, launch your campaign, leaf it in one form or another in demand for a year, and then fulfill when you get to $953,000 is what Cyborg Valkyrie is currently totaling. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, we can't all have, luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ethan is a very talented illustrator, but a lot of his success is based on timing. Being in the right place at the right time.
Exactly, and knowing the right people. I mean, working with
Yeah.
Jeff Johns for years did not hurt the man.
Right.
Getting in discussions with your boy Zach at the beginning of your boy Zach's journey did not hurt Ethan.
Right. Those are all being in the right place at the right time.
Exactly, and that can be a skill too. So yeah, absolutely. Just I guess the key point is network and don't let opportunities slip through your fingers. And Shae, I've highlighted the next question.
Yeah, so Skits also wants to know, did you have a mailing list when you first started?
I did. I got about 30 people that signed up for the mailing list.
Do you feel like it was helpful, or?
You know what? I have no evidence that it was helpful at all. I have no evidence that actually was helpful. Because let's put it this way: I have a Facebook page for Captain Luv that has nearly 6,000 likes. Right. Okay. I have 4,700 followers on my personal Facebook. And this is because I do comedy and music, and people know me from other stuff other than creating comedy.
Oh, neat.
That's very cool.
So yeah, I mean, I'm people know me from that other stuff. So like when they found out I had a comic book, they're like, oh, and I thought, based on my existing fan base and numbers, and that I would have had quite a huge start to my campaign on Indiegogo. And what I found is that it doesn't translate. It's a whole different fan base that follows the crowdfunding, and in fact, I've found that if I and I'm still considering it, because after I have my books, I'll have books for sale. I'm still thinking about kicking off a Kickstarter, just to get the people that are familiar with Kickstarter.
Right. Well, we have someone who did the exact opposite. So she launched on Kickstarter because she didn't understand basically the stigma attached to Kickstarter and comics.
Well, I might not be able to be on Kickstarter because they have their little rules. People tell me that you're fine. There's I'm like, no, but okay. In their little rules, when you say what kind of their little guidelines for what kind of books, there is no pornography. Clearly, they say no pornography, and pornography is a subjective term. Some people consider pornography. You know what I mean? So like the fact that I have nudity in my book, you know what I mean? They may say, well, your book is pornography. You know what I mean? Based on that. And then it says any book that promotes violence. Well, my book has like total war and graphic and blood and guts and heads exploding and children dying, which promotes violence.
Well,
I mean, technically it doesn't promote violence because you're not saying this is what you should go do. This is saying this is what's happening. But the way that Kickstarter likes to interpret that is
it's up to them.
Yeah. And you showed violence, therefore you promote violence, which isn't the same thing.
I am vividly showing violence.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you are.
Graphic depiction of violence. So just to be clear, Kickstarter has never needed a reason to keep people off their platform. That's why they hired their whatever gatekeeping of comics manager that they have, and she's a real piece of work if you look into her at all. And I'm sure her team is of the same vein. But if you can do it, do it. I mean, don't leave an audience unreached, but absolutely.
I think that Kickstarter, the Facebook audience is a little bit more Kickstarter friendly, which is
right.
Which is why which is the biggest motivator for me, because I might be able to leverage some of that Facebook fan base that I have towards Kickstarter easier than it was. Because let me just tell you, I got so many emails saying, "Why are you crowdfunding? I thought your book was done." I mean, it's like what I'm like I'm crowdfunding so that I can print my book. So I have copies to sell, it's like I mean, a lot of people just don't understand, the whole why crowdfunding, like if
they're used to normal products, like you're going to crowdfund the next amazing set of Bluetooth earbuds and you need that money for research and development. So they're trying to translate that over to a comic, and that's
Right.
not really the model of indie
And
comics.
most people who crowdfund their comics have like maybe 2 pages of artwork done, a cover, or like that, and a general story that they haven't finished writing yet. You know what I mean? And then they're like, okay, I would like to make this comic, so crowdfund me so I can make this comic. Whereas I'm like, I have made this comic. Help me print it.
Yeah, you kind of gone the same way as Wyatt has for Ardana, where he was like, my comic's done, it's been done, I can't print it out of pocket because I paid for my artist out of pocket, and I'm the writer, and I've done all of the other things out of pocket. And so it turned around and was like, hey, if you guys want a physical copy of this book, you might as well.
Yeah.
If you crowdfund, I can print. If you don't crowdfund, like I
still ended up taking a hit on it though, because I initially was, I wanted to print enough copies through a certain printer that I had selected and all worked out, and had it all set up, and I even had the files produced already ahead of time to go to this printer that I wanted to use. But I needed to have a certain sales point to get there. So because I wanted to print 5,000 books in my first run.
Wow.
Well, I wanted to, because if you understand 5,000 books, that's one book for the average retail store, and then still have some to actually take to conventions with me. You know what I mean? I wanted to have a large first run, and it would have cost me about $2 a book. What I mean?
At that quantity,
yeah. And it includes the shipping to get it to me afterwards, even. You know what I mean? About $2 a book, and then right. Well, because I have to go only 1,000 books, and I have to change the printer that I wanted to use, which which I have to recreate all the files again. But when I change the printer I wanted to use, now it's costing me $4.25 a book. So,
that's a bummer.
So my profit margin, right?
Right.
And I don't even have as many books. You know what I mean? And I still need to raise more money, you know what I mean, to pay myself back for these books. Like I set the campaign amount at what it would cost to print the books and deliver them with no profit. So I reached that, you know what I mean? So now I'm trying to get more books. Like if I was just to print enough books to deliver to people, I would have some profit. You know what I mean? From that, I wouldn't profit from the cost of making the book, but I would have the profit from the printing. But that's not enough. So I needed to just print more books so that I can continue moving this model forward, because eventually I would like to recoup the money from actually creating the book.
Right. Well, and I think that a lot of people don't realize that when you're first doing this, like your first book is probably going to take a pretty big loss from you. Because people don't know you yet. People don't know what your storytelling is like. People aren't familiar with your brand, and it turns into a bit of an investment. The problem is sometimes that investment is way higher than what you needed it to be, than what it should have been, and trying to recoup some of that. Like a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just print it and so I can have a book? And it's like, well, I mean, that's all well and good, but if I can't make my profit margin back, I don't have an infinite amount of money to just keep shelling into my project. At some point, I have to start making some money back. Otherwise, this is going to stop, because you don't need to put a second mortgage on your home to deliver a story to people. Like that's not smart.
Yeah. In fact, I probably didn't do the smartest thing, gambling on myself, but but here's the thing, is like I have spent the majority of my life making other people rich and successful, you know what I mean? Right. I haven't had a product for myself since I had a rock band, you know what I mean, that was touring. That was the last time I had a product, and that was like so that was like forever ago now. So it's like it's been a long time now. I actually have a product, And so it's like about trying to, so I'm like, okay, I need to make this happen. And then I have a business partner in my media company. He's not really a partner in this book, but he was supposed to raise money for the printing of this book. And he did not get that done. He was supposed to have money for the printing and marketing so we could actually go the mainstream route through Diamond and actually hit the stores full tilt with a new product that was well marketed, well produced. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Well, that explains the ISBN.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was the initial plan. It was the initial plan to do that. And it would have, I mean, I did all the market research. It would have gone over really well, but he did not raise the money for me. And so I had to spend all my savings and my own, credit, and I'm still spending money, because the next book's in development. And now I'm spending money on the printing. Of course, I'll get some of that back from the campaign. And then, of course, the plan is that I got enough ahead of time, enough overprint that I can, sell all those and then have enough money to do another print run. And then maybe by the time I do a third print run, or maybe the second print run, depending on how it goes with the campaign, and, I might be able to see some profit at the end of that on this book.
Yeah, and absolutely, when you do your second campaign, your third campaign, make sure that they can go back and buy the first book so that they can get caught up. Absolutely. So
I'm going to keep this book in print. The variant cover, will, when the campaign is over, I will never print another variant, never one of these variant covers. But the original cover I will keep that in print as long as I can.
Yep, that's a really good idea, especially for when you're overprinting in that volume. We did have another question here, and I'm going to put it up, and you can answer it or not, because it's kind of like asking, who's your proctologist at times. So I'm just going to throw it up here. But some people don't like to talk about it publicly, and if you choose not to answer it, I would just say, Skits, hit him up in DMs. And it's scrolling off the screen.
Where I'm having it printed.
Yeah.
I don't know if negative about. I mean, I don't have a problem with sharing that information publicly. It's just that I just don't share it publicly because other people may take my advice and have a bad experience, and then I, you know what I mean.
So you're going to answer the question, but not recommend, is what you're saying.
Well, what I'm going to say is, Skits, hit me up in the DMs.
There you go.
Okay.
And I will tell you there, because I don't want to publicly endorse a print company that may do you wrong.
And that's fair. I mean, we've seen plenty of companies who've come out and have done like really, really well for one campaign and completely drop the ball on another, or they do really well in the beginning and then they just kind of fall off. And that it makes sense that you don't want to tie you. And
it's more like I have a lot of experience in the print industry. Right? I understand about delivering the right kind of file that needs to be printed correctly, and some companies will hold your hand and deliver this correctly for you, and you can be a complete noob and have a great product. Other companies, you got to have your shit together to get a decent product out of them, because they don't give a fuck if you fuck your shit up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because then you're just ordering more to fix it.
Yep.
Right. So I don't want to point anybody, you know what I mean, on a public platform where somebody doesn't have any detail, you know what I mean, to go along with it. So
I think Skits was really just digging for what country the printer is in. Are they U.S.?
The printer is in the United States. These books are printed in the USA. It even says so in the fine print in the book when you open up the little copyright information, that what you would see, here, the little
the credit page.
Yeah,
perfect.
On the credit page, it actually says printed in the USA because they are printed in the USA.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
I was gonna have them printed out of the country at the larger bulk. You know what I mean? But I could not raise enough money to do that. So.
Right.
Nope, I absolutely get what you're saying. And some people, that's an option for, and you wait longer, and the price might be more effective because obviously labor is cheaper, and frankly, materials are cheaper too.
Mm-hmm.
And some people get really great quality out of it, and if they're willing to do that, more power to them. Some people, it's a more attractive price point, and they're willing to wait. Some people, they want to go the route of, either keeping the product in the country for whatever reason. They think the quality is better.
there's a lot of options out there. Like there's even like you can do one-off drop ship companies, you know what I mean, that will print your books one at a time, but then your profit margin also shrinks on that as well.
Exactly.
And then you don't have a stockpile of books. You know what I mean? And I intend to by next summer, you know, I don't really have any plans between, you know, in the wintertime, you know what I mean? But if one comes up that's convenient, I'll jump on it. But I intend next summer to be doing the convention route pretty heavy, you know, and I want to, you know, basically, ideally for me, that's the best place because I can get full price for my books in the convention route.
Right.
You know, I can get them at cover price, all up and down, you know, and then obviously I'll have actual comic book store owners come up and say, did not know you existed. I see you now. Holy crap. I would like a chunk of your books. You know, can I get a retailer discount? I'll be like, yeah, here's the discount. First time retailer. If you want to do this, you want to do this, you know what I mean? I'll have all kinds of different options available for them, how many they buy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Be ready to like just cut deals right then. Eventually, hopefully I'll be able to afford to go the large scale distribution. I mean, I don't see anything wrong. I mean, yeah, Diamond's practices are kind of monopolistic, you know, but at the same time, they are the only place right now that can sufficiently deliver to all 3,500 comic book stores in the country. And if you spend the money in their marketing stuff that they give out, you know, to people, if you spend the money in their book, the people who are ordering it will see it. You know what I mean? Because just about everybody in the country who has a comic book shop orders from the Diamond book.
Yes.
And if you advertise, they will see your ad. They will see, okay, well, this book looks fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I mean, that's my background. Traditional advertising is something I'm very familiar with. So it's like, I know that my book could succeed if it was sitting on the shelves properly marketed. So,
right.
Very cool. Well, honestly, I think your book is great. I love your confidence level and your passion behind your product. That's something that makes me a lot more excited about it, is hearing a creator who is just completely in love with their own project, happy to do their own marketing and their own pushing and everything. And that's something that a lot of people don't do a whole lot of. And so it's nice to see you just be so hands-on and excited about your project.
Yeah. Okay. So let's. You guys want to laugh a little bit?
Sure.
Throw a bit. Since we could do a little get to know Drew stuff.
Let's do it.
All right. Just give me a second here. I am pulling up YouTube over here on my screen. You type fast. Either that or you're faking it.
That's me.
We have races back and forth.
Okay, so I'm going to do a share screen. Is that okay?
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, and then we're going to show. This is my comedy channel, by the way. It's youtube.com/laugh therapy.
All right.
And then
I'm not sure if your audio is going to come through, but we'll see.
you should be able to pick it up on my mic.
That was aggressive. Yes.
Is that loud to do that?
That's good.
It's slowing down because we're streaming also. Let's see here. I hate that. Okay, let's try again.
Yep, welcome to my world. Host a show from a Chromebook, see what happens.
I mean, worst case scenario, we can always put a link to it into the chat if you would like.
Well, yeah, I guess if we have to.
I know, if it's not going to play.
Well, it's funny how it does sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. You know what I mean? It really comes down to. But okay, so the point I was trying to get with this, what I was going to like set up to. You see here, my stage name
is Drew Luv.
That's where Captain Luv's name came from.
Aw, that's awesome.
So when people talk about how sexualized the name is and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, you got no idea where that's you know. And then the name was applied to me because when I first got into YouTube doing comedy, I had a friend that I was doing comedy with, and she always stumbled on my last name, so she started calling me Drew Love. You know what I mean? That was just how she called it. And so like it just stuck, you know. So
Like the British love.
yeah, the LUV.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Like, hey love, how you doing? You know?
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, so this is not going, so I'm gonna
That's okay. We tried. We gave it a good old college try. We are almost at 1 hour and 25 minutes. So this is probably a good place to wrap it up. Do you have any last like parting shots you'd like to give everyone, or
parting shots? Like, you know, like whiskey?
That'd be great.
Shot.
Do it. Let's do a shot of whiskey.
I have that passion in your world. Yeah, Vinny, I agree, man. You know, okay, so I really would appreciate it if everybody who's watching this, and if you haven't gone and backed my book, please back it. Get a trading card perk. These trading cards are going to be collector's items. I swear to you, this book is going to be something 10 years from now. The books that you get on this campaign are going to probably be 10 times as valuable. These trading cards are going to be valuable. I am not going to rest until Captain Luv is fucking well known. People may make fun of it. People may try and call it sexualized, whatever, but it's going to be something that people are going to recognize. Think about how long it took, you know, other things to get popular. Heavy metal, cartoon, movie is something that nobody even bats an eyelash at, and it's way more sexual than my book is. You know what I mean? So, but that is the level that I actually aspire to. You know what I mean? Because there's sexual appeal, there's violence, there's real. I'm not targeting this book for children. It's not Richie Rich. It's not Archie. You know what I mean? It's, you know, it's not Pokemon. It is, you know, it's designed to tell a good story. I have worked really hard. I spent more than 5 years of my life developing this character for you guys, and I really would appreciate it if you guys would get yourselves a copy, get yourself some trading cards, you know, and I guarantee you will not be sorry. This will be a book that you will appreciate and enjoy reading and enjoy having in your collection.
Cool.
Absolutely. So definitely, if you haven't gone, we have the link is in the chat. We also have the link in the description, so you don't have an excuse to not go. And check out Captain Luv and back. He's got some awesome tiers. You can get yourself a super awesome t-shirt. If you want a sweatshirt, just contact Drew. He'll help you with all of that kind of stuff. Also, thank you everyone who came. Thank you for our chat and for all of the questions. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will catch you all next time on Red Valkyrie. See you later.
Thanks for coming.